Hello and welcome. You're tuned to the League Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview podcast, joined by the usual suspects in studio, Paul Mawati and Stephen Hunt. And we've got Size Produce Day at Awapuni Group 1 there for the 2-year-olds. Going to be a big day, boys. Good morning.
Yeah.
Paulie?
Are we still a podcast?
Oh, we have this conversation most weeks, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't know if we are, actually, to be fair.
Okay.
Shall I give that up?
Well, I don't know.
I say it every week because it's my usual intro and I've got used to it. So
Tradition.
now it's become a tradition.
Size produce, as you say. And a lot of Kiwi interest across the other side of the ditch.
Yeah, I'll be flying in Australia. Morning, Steve. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, very well, very well.
How was last week?
I think progress overshadowed what was happening domestically here. It was a quiet week locally in terms of what we've got unfolding tomorrow and what we've had in the previous weeks. But yeah, progress just elite in the vinery, outstanding. She ran right up to beating expectation, and she just continues this delivery that we've got of 3-year-olds heading over across the ditch and winning Group 1 events. We had Legato winning the Australian Guineas, beating the boys. We've got a couple of or more than a couple, 3 or 4 at least in the Derby this weekend. So, yeah, it's just that fantastic crop that continues to grow and excel. Yeah, 100%. You going to Size Produce Day, Paul? You going to be there?
I might pop up there, yeah. Grab a lift with Steve.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I know we'll have this chat more in depth certainly later on in the season, Steve, but this Horse of the Year situation that's unfolding is, I want to say, unprecedented, really.
Yeah, it changes week by week, doesn't it? And now Pro S puts herself into conversation because she's won an Australian Group 1. You got Sharp and Smart. If he was able to do the job on Saturday, that's 2 Australian Group 1s. With the Group 1s he's won locally, so he would probably be the number 1 seed. But we've got Brisbane to come. I'm not sure what 3-year-olds are heading that way. Imperatriz, as we know, won on Friday night. William Reid, so she's probably the leading light at this stage. But yeah, it's a conversation which can go in different directions, and it's just great to have that volume of horses to speak about and contest that title. And yeah, we had the news about Tokyo Tycoon as well during the week, which was unfortunate for everybody concerned. But yeah, interesting to see where he fits now in 2-year-old of the year. I still feel he's number 1 seed, even with the dramas that surrounds the Sistema. But yeah, plenty of conversation during the week, but a lot to unfold still with roughly, 2 or 3 months to finish off the season.
Yeah,
so we've got Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, all in their prime.
In the 70s.
In terms of the 3-year-olds that we've got going around at the moment. This is just, I'm sure we'll look back in years gone by and go,
yep,
that was a serious class of a horseflesh that we had going around 3-year-olds.
What a crop it is. BP and Sharp and Smart can add to that Group 1 tally in Aussie tomorrow, can't he? Morning.
Good morning, team. Yeah, he can, can't he? And boy, he would put himself right into that conversation that you're just having there if he can pick up another Group 1. And then what will happen after the Derby too? So there's a bit to unfold around Sharp and Smart. I do believe it's not just about him though. I think the 3 horses that finished in behind him, especially Mark Twain, have a very big shot in that Derby tomorrow. Mark Twain with Kerry McAvoy aboard, good draw. Can he be in the right half of the field is probably the first question. Sharp and Smart's drawn awkwardly, so I think those horses that ran first, second, third and fourth are real big players there tomorrow in the Australian Derby, because you've just spoken about our 3-year-old form. Well, surely that form there out of the New Zealand Derby will show itself to the fore in the Australian Derby on the weekend. So, yeah, fingers crossed. But, yeah, what an incredible weekend when you've got 2 important winners, and Imperatriz, who really did blow them away. Opie nailed that, and then of course he got nailed later as well with the suspension, but he was able to get the job done there in the William Reid. And even Campionessa ran a big race too in the Australian Cup. She actually ranged up looking like she was going to be a decent player, and yeah, Prowess was that cherry on top for sure. So yeah, incredible weekend to be able to take in what happened across the Tasman.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of winners, let's get back to you with your maiden of the week, BP. What have you found for us?
Look, I've gone to Matamata. I like to steer away from the 2-year-old races, but as we're getting later into the season, sort of wanted to go with this 2-year-old race on Wednesday out of Matamata, because there's a chance that we can follow some form here with some 2-year-old races still to come, and I think we can really follow the second horse out of this race, and What You Wish For, who's come from a mile off them to finish into second position. Boy, this is a run from this horse, over 1,050 metres. At the same time, Faravello's a runner that just got everything in its favour. Good barrier draw, had barrier speed, beaten in races by Ulanova, beaten in the Karaka Million. there was just a lot around Faravello winning that race, and it did the job by showing its pure speed and holding the inside rail position. So, like the winner, really like the second horse. I think it's a race we can keep tabs on, that Manawatu 2-year-old race.
Yeah, 100% real professional performance there, Steve, from Faravello, and obviously the second horse was impressive on the eye, and there's plenty of money for it too.
Yeah, had the ace draw, Faravello, and got the job done. Ran time, ran above par for the class rating, so that's always positive. In terms of the breakdown to the 600 and the last 600, that's against open class. You don't often see 2-year-olds hit the green when it comes to breaking down sectionals there, so no knock there. And look, I want to speak about another individual that day. It comes out of the 65 1400 later in the day, Zantabulous. Nice filly. Gee, she was very good on the eye, backed up on the clock. Yeah, look, the money was there to suggest she was really going to benefit from that first up run. And lightly raced order by Alman's order of Zabil Mir. The pedigree's there on the dam side as well. So, look, I know it's a bit left field for what I'm going to say around Zantabulous, but look, she's won a 65. She's put a margin on them. In terms of a class rating, was 4.5 lengths above 65 class, which roughly is around about 1 length inferior to open class. Now, from that race on Wednesday to where we sit next Saturday is a 10-day gap. The Te Araha breeders at Te Rapa. Now, I know it's not the traditional setup, 65 to Group 1, but we see it with 3-year-olds. They win a 65, they run a Derby, they run an Oaks, etc. She's taking on the older mares. We've spoken at lengths in the last 2 to 3 weeks that this race is going to be fairly weak. All the top mares are either elsewhere or in the spelling paddock. I think it's going to be a glorified rating 85, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 mares that rate above 90. Being a 3-year-old filly, Zantabulous, she'll get that weight relief, so the weight allowance put her right in the race. If she just improves a fraction from what we saw on Wednesday, she can pinch a bit of black type, and it's valuable black type. It's Group 1 black type. I just feel the sense of timing, a 3-year-old on the way up, contesting the older mares, which we know just lacks in the present time for different reasons. Yeah, I don't know, I'd just be almost tempted to roll the dice. I know it's probably not Te Akau's theme. They just like to take their time with 3-year-old fillies, get to the right race, but we're talking this horse possibly contesting a Group 1 maybe in 6 to 12 months' time. And it's going to be a lot stronger, that Group 1 they contest in. And she's got to get there still, where right now she's in form, a sense of timing, a 3-year-old. We saw even 12 months ago, Te Akau produced Imperatrice, a 3-year-old filly, to beat the older mares. And I'm not saying she's Imperatrice level, but she probably doesn't have to beat the field that Imperatrice did last year. So, I don't know. I'd be almost tempted to roll the dice with Zantabulous, but I'm probably thinking they won't, but I thought I'd just throw it out there.
There you go. Plant the seed.
Bit of chum in the water. Okay, Zantabulous impressive, as was Faravello. And What You Wish For, the name of the second horse? What You Wish For?
Yeah, I think
BP?
so. Wasn't it BP?
Yep.
What You Wish For. Okay, very good. That's the one to follow as well. Plenty of money for it on the day. Look, boys, before we get to Awapuni, I just want to take us back 7 days. I've had a chance to sort of culminate what happened last week with your best bets, and not many bouquets go out too often, but I just wanted to put something together for you boys around your best bets last week on the league up.
I'm going to go for my best bet. I'm going to head to Western Australia. Yes, I'm going to go to the Western Australian Oaks on Saturday. Its start time will be at 9:55.
And She's Fit is going to run away and win the Oaks. She's Fit goes home to beat. Tight goes second.
I'll keep it nice and local. We'll go to Tauranga, race 4. I love the look of In Ecstasy.
Here comes In Ecstasy out after strongly now. Also Candy Cane out of the pack and wider out. We've got Luxuriant and Inquisitive, but it's In Ecstasy in front, wanting to lay around a bit, but In Ecstasy will just hold on.
Yeah, I'll go to Riccarton. I found it tricky this Saturday to find a best bet, but I'll go to Riccarton race 5, 3-year-old 1400. Lightly raced filly who's on the up in the name of Mary Wecker.
Leader Mary Wecker, Doddle out now from La Bellamira, Miss Dunsford. Mary Wecker holding on though, they're having a grand old run, the Wecker crew. Mary Wecker wanted a length.
Well done, boys. Well done. I've had a few people get in touch with me. 50 to 1, north of 50 to 1 for the multi team. So, look, has it happened before?
It's taken 2 years.
Exactly. We were due. Maybe we were due. Look, I know, yes, there's certainly a number of people have benefited from that. So well done, boys. Well done, Paul. In Ecstasy. Very good.
Yeah, let's celebrate our victories when we get them. Crikey.
BP, your filly was impressive. Is she going to push on?
Yes, all likelihood that she will run in the Western Australian Derby and take on the boys. And that's the path for her. So, yeah, a bit of a wait for everybody that did take the multi. But boy, wasn't it well worth it. Waiting for 10 o'clock at night to see She's Fit. Put them away in the Western Australian Oaks. That was a very easy watch.
It was indeed, and so she'd be right in playing a derby, and Mary Wecker was soft in the end, Steve. It was a good win.
Yeah, look, she improved her ratings from her last start win, maiden win, and I'm not sure how many runs she'll go out and turn in terms of the track deteriorating, but she can handle a little bit of fire out of the track, and I thought it was quite a dominant win in the end. So.
Drifted late, yeah.
Yeah, got out to a good price. Can we do it again this week, Paul? Surely we'll go back to back.
Statistically, I would suggest no.
You've got to say yes so people hang around to watch for the best bets.
Well, yeah, hang around.
Yeah, you never know, right?
You never know.
You never know. Okay, well done, team. We'll move on. We don't want to dwell on our past victories. We've got to get some more on the board here, and we want to go to Awapuni, Steve. We've got 4 races we want to look at, and what track conditions are we going to be striking there at Awapuni tomorrow?
Yeah, decent cloud over the track, excuse the pun, because we've got showers forecasted. Not so much today, but definitely on race day, and it's happening around the early stage of the afternoon. So, look, overcast soft 5 at present. Roll out 1 metre to the outside bend. That's crucial, using that outside bend. Last meeting that was held at Awapuni was on the 1st of March, Lowland Day, which was on a good 4. And they also used the outside bend on that occasion. So it's had 4 or 5 weeks to freshen up for the Group 1 day. But the big drama surrounding this meeting is the showers that are forecasted on race day and happening this or later tomorrow afternoon. So, look, soft 5, I think that's what it will be presented tomorrow morning, possibly even close to a 4. But yeah, big watch on the rain that's happening on the afternoon.
Yeah, okay. We want to go to the main event here, team. Race number 7 on the card, the Courtesy Ford Manawatu Size Produce Stakes, Group 1 of the 1400 for the 2-year-old. Steve, run us through this market.
Yeah, Tourbillon is the clear favourite. It's been favoured in all-in betting for a long time. With a few other key 2-year-olds either spelling or going elsewhere. But Tourbillon at $2.10 holds roughly about 60% of the hold. So punters definitely keen at the $2.10 quote for the first 48 hours of trading. Tulsi in that second line at $6. Saka at $7.50. Low flying at $9. Double figures around No Rain Ever and To Catch a Thief 15, 16 respectively. And Rip Roar best of the rest at $18. So overall summary, it is almost one-way traffic around Tourbillon at $2.10. And look, I think that 210 might even shorten on Friday. Where it gets to on race day, I'm not sure. But just with the weight of money on the 1 v the rest of the opposition, it's quite telling. So 210 might be an okay price if you want to trade on the favourite on Friday afternoon.
Okay, never easy to speed map a 2-year-old race with relatively limited data. Steve, what did you come up with?
Yeah, very tricky, as you meant, small sample size for a lot of these juveniles. I think Tourbillon from barrier 2 should be able to use that gate. Opie Bosson will be riding, obviously, the key favourite here. I think he can track the speed. Latin Way and Aprilia, who have both shown tactical speed, and as I say, light races to date. But I think from their wide gates, they'll look to take their chance and come across and try and put themselves in the 1-2 in the map. I think Rip Roar and Sarko both have shown tactical speed. Thus far in the early career, they'll be in the first 4 or 5 and running. To Catch a Thief, No Rain Ever, I think they're both situated in that midfield, hopefully try and get that 3-wide cover. Low flying, a horse that has shown tactical speed thus far, but from a wide gate, I'm just not sure where they map. I think they'll look for that neutral position with a little bit of cover in behind No Rain Ever and To Catch a Thief. Tulsi will get back as she did in the Group 1, and Great Escape, 1 start to date from that draw. I believe will be in the back third. So look, I'm not confident it will unfold this way, but I think the key is around the 3 and the 9 and the 3. How forward they go in the first furlong or 2 will generate the speed or lack of it if they decide to go in that neutral position.
Yeah, okay, BP, a well-backed favourite here, Tourbillon, and look, no disgrace running around behind Tokyo Tycoon, but the win in the Mudda Slipper was strong, so the form is there.
Look, everything's there to say that he has the right 2-year-old form, really. And look, when he's competed in, like an Eclipse Stakes, his placing behind Tokyo Tycoon, his efforts in the Karaka Million, for instance, it's the right form, isn't it? He has a good draw. Everything points to his direction, really, with what he's been able to do so far in this campaign. So I think we all understand and know why he is a $2.10 favourite, and Stephen's even given us a hint there that he could even tighten up in the marketplace. And yeah, he just has the runs on the board compared to a couple of runners in this race where they look good, and we try and line them up, and we try and get the true guide on where they might be for this weekend's race. To get to 1,400 metres, again, that's a different playing field for all of these horses, moving up in distance to 1,400 metres. Some will really relish that. So, yeah, overall, he is the obvious, is Trobriand. I almost go looking for something else just because of his price. You know, he does have the right draw to land and sit in the right spot. But I don't mind Tulsi. I think Tulsi's a horse that can run a really big race here on the weekend too. This is Trobriand now. Of course, he's had a trial. He's even had a hit out midweek. He had an exhibition gallop on Wednesday out of Manawatu just to keep up to his work. So, you know, Stephen, he's had a fair bit between the Manawatu Slipper, which was on the 25th of February. They didn't go to the Sistema, and they've gone with the angle of having a trial and then a really good gallop in his final week leading up towards Saturday's race.
Well, he brings the A-grade form, doesn't he, around Tokyo Tycoon. If Tokyo was in this race, he'd be a very short odds-on fave. So he brings the A-grade form for this year in terms of juvenile events. Opie's engaged. He maps perfectly. Opie can just assess if there's a bit of speed outside him. He can just take a sit and get some cover in the first 3 or 4. Or he can sit outside leader here if he wishes, aboard Trobriand. So, look, he's operated on heavy tracks. He got through the slipper okay last start. That was a genuine heavy, so if there's rain falling, I don't think it's a total negative around Trobriand. So he ticks a lot of boxes, as I say. If he almost picks himself, but it's about price sensitive. It's what you're prepared to take, and I think he deserves to be above $2, but the money's speaking different volumes.
Okay, Paul, low flying, last time out, running second there behind Zurian, who looks very impressive indeed, but this was a good run considering a bit of a drift in the marketplace, and I don't think the Zurian form's too bad.
No, it's in fact, it's very, very good. I'm just having a look here. I thought that run in behind Zurion was very, very good, especially since Ulanova, who finished 4th, then went on to become the eventual winner of the Sistema. So low flying, certainly a chance at around the $9 mark. So I've certainly got on the numbers. I agree with Steve. I think we're going to see the favourite shorten as we get closer to race time. So look, Mark Walker, Opie Boston, they've got the draw for Opie to decide what he wants to do, and I'm sure he'll have Trobriand positioned exactly where he wants, so should get the run of the race. I'm waiting for a few others to drift on the back of Trobriand coming in.
Yeah.
Now I'm very, very happy to jump on low flying, and also Tulsi. I thought that first of all the win was very, very good after finding a wee bit of trouble at Tauhera Nikau, and then I thought that that was a lovely eye-catching run in the Sistema. So, and I think Group 1 Ryan's on board as well.
Your man.
Tulsi. So certainly bettable at $6. I just think we might see a little bit of a drift on Saturday, and I'm happy to take the drift on Tulsi as well. I really like the way finished off this race.
Yeah, these Autumn Suns, BP, are going pretty well, and you had a bit of a time for Tulsi as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, the way that race panned out, that was dominated by first and second. They were in the prime positions. Tulsi was slow away, has conceded lengths at the start, and then has made up those lengths down the straight and was very good through the line, suggesting give me 1,400 metres, and just if I can get away with them and be in a better spot, maybe Group 1 Ryan can produce another pearler, because she's right in this. She is quite a clear second favourite for mine in this race, and I think Paulie's on the money there. There is a chance that we could just get a little bit more if we play the patient game with Tulsi. Certainly looking towards power plays. I think this is a great power play between Tulsi and Trobriand, and even a horse like Low Flying and Tulsi both to run top 4. I think those bets start becoming a play because Trobriand might just get too short in the marketplace where you start searching for other options. They're the sort of bets I'll be looking for here. Sort of a Trobriand, Tulsi, or even more so, as I said, Tulsi Low Flying power play just might be a juicy enough one. I really like what she's done there. I think 1,400 is going to suit her. She's trained to the minute by Ben Wynyard. I know the camp are really happy with her coming into this. Look, draw's a bit sticky, isn't it? Like, she's drawn in barrier number 8. Where's she going to end up in the run? I guess they're the question marks. Well, you know where the favourite's going to be, and he's going to be in or near speed, sitting in a gun spot where she just, things just have to fall into place for her for that first 200 or 300 metres of the race.
Paulie?
I've just had a look at the boys have put up the do-it-yourself power plays for the Manawatu sires, and they've got a winner, a top 5 and a top 8. I've put Low Flying and Tulsi in both for a top 5. Comes out at 262 at the moment.
Okay, top 5, okay. And there'll probably be other power plays as well in the race, so the normal power plays as well, but those DIY power plays are in action for the size produce. Steve, another one also I want to touch on is Sarko before we move on. Look, this one at Trentham, pretty solid.
Yeah, I was very taken by this. You just got to go back to its debut run when it held merit second behind a smart one in Zurion, which we know went on to win the Manawatu Breeders. I want to trust the market in the Breeders because it was heavily punted into that second line that day at Manawatu. Just didn't handle the heavy track. So that's a big query. We just don't want too much rain around Sarko, but you see it presenting, came off heels at the top of the straight, down the centre of the straight here. Its closing sectionals were very, very good. Its last 6.42 was comparable to the next best on the day, which was the open class sprinters coming out of the Lightning. The one horse that really stood out that day was Marina Farina, who we'll talk about in more depth later in the show. But very good for a 2-year-old, albeit had the right race shape. They've stacked up, they've crawled to the 600, and they've flashed home some really good sectionals as an overall race. So he had the opportunity to run home some really good sectionals, but he still did the job. And I just feel a sense of timing. I think one horse that is a last start Maidener out of the field, that is the one I want to direct to, as number 5 Sarko. But the only query is the wet track. I just don't want too much rain. I think you get away with it with a 6, but any worse, I'd probably be putting him further down the betting ladder.
No rain ever was second, Paul, in that race behind Sarko. Any time for no rain ever?
Oh, certainly. Look, you need to salute the judge, but she has been putting up some imposing performances. Did it tough last start, running 3 wide without cover and missed the start the race before that. Bill Thurlow's got Sammy Collett back over this side of the ditch. So they must have a certain amount of confidence. And I think on her performances so far, rightly so.
Okay, BP, surmise the size produce for us. It sounds like you're around the top 2 in the market with maybe a little bit of leaning towards the second favourite here.
Yeah. Look, and one other horse to mention too, I think, is To Catch a Thief. Look, this is a horse, won't be wanting it to get sort of beyond a 5. We have seen the connections scratch the horse when those sort of conditions have been about. He hasn't been that far away. The Eclipse form, if you look at that particular form line, Trobriand won the race, of course. He ran 3rd and he actually beat home Ulanova in that race, To Catch a Thief. His effort was okay too, I thought, in the Sistema when he finished into 4th position. He is one horse I want to follow into next season. I think he's going to be a grouse 3-year-old To Catch a Thief, and he's around that $15, $16 mark. He has the right runs on the board behind Tokyo Tycoon and Trobriand to cause an upset if the track is in that right spot. I think his draw's ideal, and I really do think 1,400 metres he's going to eat the ground up. He's my best roughie in the race. If the rain sort of doesn't affect the track or whatever happens with the weather, I feel as though he might be a chance there. Yeah, I'm going to just roll the dice on Tulsi. I think everything we've spoken about Trobriand, he gets the right run and he lands in that spot. You could be sitting there after about 600 metres and going, well, this is all over. Opie's won another Group 1, Trobriand in the Tangerine. But if Tulsi can get the right drag into the race and things just unfold for her, in the way that she finished off her run last time in the Sistema Stakes, she certainly can be a big player in the race, and maybe she's rattling home for finish into 2nd or 3rd position. So, yep, I think that DIY power play market might be one to dive into. Yeah,
okay. Paul, how are you attacking the race?
Look, I understand the support behind Trobriand.
What is it about Trobriand in this race? We deserve a $2.10 favourite for all these reasons. Yes. A-grade form, as you say, but for some reason we're all trying to sort of box around Trobriand here a little bit.
I guess we're looking for a little bit of value.
We're value hunting.
So I do like the look of Tulsi. And if we can get a little drift on Saturday, I will be jumping on big time. But I'm going to have a little stab at No Rain Ever. I think she'll settle around midfield with the likes of Tulsi as well, and might get a nice little drag into the race as they come around the turn. So no rain ever at 15 at the moment and 360 for the top three.
Okay. Steve, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think Trobion, it depends. If we get this rain, I'd be leaning towards Trobion. But again, it's around the price, 210's right on its mark. But if we're promised a 5 or a 6, I'll lean towards Sako, and I think it can get close to double figures on the day, regardless of what the track comes up. Obviously, if it really gets dented, the track, then it definitely plays in the double figure line, Sako. But I just saw enough out of Trentham, a horse on the up. Should get a gorgeous run from Barrier 3 with Cameron Lammis aboard. Yeah, and like I say, I'm just trusting the market and the Matamata breeders when it failed against Tokyo, or slipper, should I say, against Tokyo Tycoon. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Sako, but yeah, no confidence in this race. I thought it was quite sticky because of the rain.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Righto team, race number 8 on the cards. The next one we want to have a look at. City of Palmerston North, Awapuni Gold Cup. Group 2 over the 2,000 metres. Steve, another nice big betting field here.
100%. It's the makeup of the day at Awapuni tomorrow. Very deep fields. No diff here with Pinarello hitting the market. 350 just out of turn to 360 in front of Brando at $4.80 line. He's a doozy at $5.50 the local. Colorado Star firmer here 10 into 9. Same betting picture around Lanacore 10 into 9. Platinum Invader 10 out of turn to 11. Azola Express, we touch on this when this lines up on a Friday. 16 into $13. Pride of Aspen remains at the original quote of $13. Lightning Jack bouncing between 15 and 16. And Inciero and the Mare have also specced at longer odds, 18 to 16 and 26 into 18 respectively. So, look, overall summary, there's no clear lead. What I can say, they're just a little bit shy in the top 2 or 3 in the market, and you can see the likes of Colorado Star, Lanacord, Azola Express, Inciero and the Mare have been firmers in that middle to end market. So punters willing to take on a few of the horses at the pointy end.
Okay, interesting BP. I mean, no surprise we're probably looking for a little bit of value in a big field like this. But look, Brando on the quick backup after his win last week in the Japan Trophy has to be accorded a fair chance, doesn't he?
Look, he does. They've really just maybe they've worked him out. They've put him in the right races, haven't they, to get his confidence up. They've sent him down to the CD for a couple of his victories, and look, this was a devastating turn of foot over the top of them. And look, he's beaten some nice horses here. I mean, Moroni's a horse that is more than capable and was only second up leading into this race. You've got the likes of Vernon Me and True Enough and previous winners and Gino Severini out wide. So now the question mark is him going to 2,000 metres. What will we see from the horse going up into that distance of 2,000 metres from Brando? Can he be saved up and show that turn of foot at the end of the race like he has over the 1,600 metres there on that occasion? Look, you would say that, possibly his 1,600 metre form is good. He has Group 1 form over 1,600 metres. But this is just another test again, isn't it, that extra 400 metres. Well, Pinarello has, look, we're talking about Group 1 form. Well, this horse has a Queensland Derby next to his name. Things just didn't quite happen for him in the spring off the back of that very good late 3-year-old preparation, where, of course, he was good enough to win the championship stakes here and then head across the Tasman and of course, pull off the Queensland Derby. I really did like his run last time to the races. It just said, back me when I line up over a little bit further than 1,400 metres. This is further than 1,400 metres tomorrow. It's 2,000 metres, which is right in his wheelhouse, isn't it? So there's a lot of good reasons around Pinarello. Hopefully the track is, I guess the track is a concern, because if we do start pushing into that wet bracket, I then start thinking that we need to start looking at some other options. That would be my concern with Pinarello.
Nice resuming run though, Steve, from Pinarello, wasn't it?
Oh, the race shape was totally against. You see there, they've crawled to the 600. Last 600, well and truly above class, 4 lengths above class. And the class rating, no real knock, just a fraction under 2 lengths. But he presented first up, as BP's alluded, over 1,400, which is far too short of his best. And he's run home the fastest last 200 of the day, which, look, he's entitled to because of the way the race shaped up. You know, they've sprinted home off a crawl, so it did allow horses to really ping from the 600, but he's run 11:41 for his last 200, which I should mention again was the fastest on the day, and there was some sharp 1,200 metre events on that particular meeting. So look, my query is, and look, I don't want to knock the stable, but because the way the race was unfolded, very much a sprint home. 1400 to 2000. Is it the right setup to go from 14 all the way up to a mile and a quarter off that run? I would have probably wanted a stronger run or race, a truer race, to get him ready for 2,000 metres second up. But I suppose you just got to go back and trust the James Wellwood stable that between then and now they've just dug a little bit more work into him, because just on face value that run was it enough to get him forward to a mile and a quarter from 7 furlongs? I'm not sure, but again, you've got to put some trust in the stable, and that will come on the market. I think this is one horse that you've got to be watching the market.
Was
the
this
last
track,
5-10
is
minutes.
BP's call on the track a valued one as well? Or
Yeah,
a valid
100%.
one?
Yeah, and we're just going to keep mentioning this. I think a horse that, look, he doesn't have a huge amount of data on a heavy track, but you've got to respect that the stable have deliberately taken him away from a heavy track because they believe he probably wouldn't be suitable to it. Pedigree suggests it's a big query. Tavistocks, they like a bit of fire out of the track, but when he gets into the heavy range, they do struggle. So, yeah, again, it's a watch horse, one on the weather, as you touch on, but if it does hold on that soft bracket, just watch the horse in general in terms of the last 5 to 10 minutes. We've respected it totally, that the stable would have had enough work into it between runs, but the race shape is a little bit concerning from what unfolded at Pukekohe to getting up to 2,000 metres second up.
Okay.
I trust the stable.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you?
I
After you
trust
saw
the stable. I think they've got... look, he drops 4.5 kilos from that fresh up run over 1,400 metres. As Steve said, the fastest 200... last 200 split for the day. And
the form's been stacked. Marina Farina's won a Lightning. Gino Severini placed in a Group 2 Japan Trophy last week. So
BP mentioned the mic drop lethal in us Queensland derby. If we stay soft 5 or better,
we're in.
I'm all over Pinarello.
Yeah, fair.
Now if the rain comes,
Then we start.
I'm starting to shift.
Yeah, okay. Well, one horse that may not mind at BP, we talk about Campionessa being one of the most improved or come the furthest distance in a season. He's a doozy. He's another one that has had a blinder of a season, has come a heck of a long way, and as a Group 1 performer.
That's right, yeah. I mean, you go through, the Copelands and then coming out and beating Sharp and Smart, of course. He's a doozy in the Thorndon Mile. This is his last run to the races, and of course it was in the Herbie Dyke, which we have Sharp and Smart and Campionessa and co finishing strongly down the outer, and he boxes on to finish into 5th position. So this was his try at the 2,000 metres when last presented to the races. I think the key with him is if it does start working into that bracket where there's some rain about, that's going to bring him into it. I think the CD horses of both he and Colorado Star become players if this starts becoming a 7 or an 8 type track. That's when I think you will see some money for these type of horses really shortening in because they're liking for a little bit of aqua, and certainly Colorado Star. I mean, Colorado Star's just turned it around in the last 6 weeks. That Taranaki Cup victory where they put the horse forward and running, and he just kept on running on that occasion to win at a big price, and then he backed it up in the Kaimai Stakes. Now this was a heavy 9 track on this occasion. It was a soft 6 when he won 2 starts ago, so you've got a good spectrum of form there on his last 2 runs where there's forgiveness in the ground. He's drawn in barrier number 1. He gets a prime spot. Sort of feel as though he's a horse you could back now with the hope that it does rain and it gets into a position that it's going to be in that 7 or 8 bracket. And even if it doesn't, I think there's enough forgiveness in the track that he's going to give you a pretty big sight at that $10 mark. He's just in the right form at the moment, isn't he? Is this horse in Colorado Star, and I don't want to discount it. I think he is an absolute must with whatever you're doing with this race.
Yeah,
Is it a good time to bring up no deductions, no surprises?
No, it's never a good time to bring up no deductions.
I'll bring it up at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. You save it for the end. Look, it sounds like people are listening to BP, or they're agreeing with BP, Steve, because Colorado Star has been well backed, and if we get that rain, the $9 might not hang around. I think it's already come in a point. Here's
my number 1 selection in the race, Colorado Star, the evergreen 7-year-old. It's just found a sweet spot beyond a mile in his last 2 starts. The Taranaki Cup, the Kaimai Stakes, both wins have held a lot of merit and been flash on the clock. He just needs to replicate what he's produced in his last 2 outings to be a major chance here on Saturday, Colorado Star. I agree with everything that BP has suggested and mentioned around the horse and the track conditions. He's the safe bet, 24 hours out, Colorado Star. And I think he's the map horse. I don't see a huge amount of pressure from horses coming across from whitish gates to put themselves on speed. I think the mare from barrier 13, I'll look to go forward there. But overall, I can see this race being quite tactical and maybe a fraction below even tempo throughout. So with Colorado Star, drawn barrier 1, has tactical speed. Ryan Elliott can just position this horse either in the trailing position or maybe get off the rail and sit outside lead of the mare. But BP, I just don't see a huge amount of speed, which is going to be problematic for a couple of favourites at the point end of the market, like the Brandos, He's a Doozy, etc. So that's why I just keep gravitating towards Colorado Star, which I'm sure this has been a pure setup from the stable on its home track.
Yeah, surely, yeah. He's a Doozy. What I mean, they're drawn wide. Do they at least try and overcome that barrier draw by being positive? And I think the other horse you mentioned, the mare, is another horse that likes to put themselves there. But in terms of genuine speed, and he just lobs and finds that spot, doesn't he, Colorado Star?
I think so, yeah. I think they look to go forward with He's a Doozy. The only question mark is that, look, he has gone over a mile and a quarter and he has been placed in that position in a lower grade race, and he didn't disgrace himself in the Herbie Dyke. No. But if he can get across without too much early pressure, He's a Doozy, that will be beneficial for him running out the mile and a quarter. But look, I think once they settle into position, the overall field, I think they'll slacken the tempo mid-race, and it could be horses that are favoured on speed. Okay,
he's with Colorado Star. Anyone else we need to touch on before you give us the betting plan here in the Classic? The Gold Cup, I should say.
Well, how about the defending champ, Zola Express?
Right behind a bit of rain, either.
No, she performs better in the rain than Jen Kelly. She comes into this with similar form from last year. She was second in the Taranaki Cup and fifth in the Cuddle last year. Yep. This season, third in the Taranaki Cup, seventh in the Cuddle. Seems like Janelle Miller's found the winning formula last year, doing the same thing this season. I'm happy to have a go, certainly if the rain arrives.
Yeah, okay, so it's Pinarello and potentially Zola Express for you.
Yep.
Depending on
the conditions.
Okay, BP, surmise the race for us.
Yeah, one other horse I'd like to mention is Lanacord, and this is a horse that, again, we're talking about rain. It might be a little bit of an issue with her, just how much rain we do get. She can cop a soft track. I thought her run was bang on to say that she's getting close to her form with where we saw her as a 3-year-old filly. Of course, 3-year-old filly, she ran 2,400 metres out and was placed in New Zealand Oaks. She went on and had a great late autumn through South Australia where she performed. Things just didn't go her way as a 4-year-old mare. I just like the way that she's come back with her run over 1,600 metres in the Royal Descent Stakes. 2,000 metres looks ideal for her. I think she is the other knockout in the race. I'm going to have a split bet in the race with Lanacord and also Colorado Star.
Okay, very interesting. I can see we're under time pressure already here, team.
So we thought.
Yeah, shock me. Let's get to race number 5 on the cover, because this is a cracking betting race. The Higgins Concrete Manawatu Classic Group 3 over the 2,000 for the 3-year-old Steve.
He Desert Lightning heads the market, dropping back from the Derby trip at 2.4. Currently $2.50. That's its original. Sorry, his original quote was $2.40. So just out of turn, the favourite Desert Lightning. Cheval Dior, the maiden filly at a $5 price in that second line. Arby at $7.50. Flamenco at $9. Double figures around Humboldt, 12 into 10. A par with Jack the Local, 14 off the original price of 13. Lording's been spec'd 16, got as high as 18, firm back into 15. Best of the rest is McGrath at 18. So again, overall summary, best back run in terms of dollars invested sits with number 1 Desert Lightning, but specking around Humboldt and also Lording in the middle market.
He's a consistent galloper, isn't he? The favourite here, Desert Lightning BP. The win in the Avondale Guineas was strong, and no surprise to see him take out a race like this.
Yeah, and we spoke about the Australian Derby coming up on the weekend, of course, and the chances of the Kiwi horses. Well, he finished 8th, yes, in the Derby over 2,400 metres, and look, he was only 3.5 lengths off Sharp and Smart. But this form here, we can line up horses like Full of Sincerity, who finished into 4th position. As we know, then placed in the Derby, a chance tomorrow in the Australian Derby. And the Loose finished into 7th position, as you can see the horse running on there in the Lib Britannia colours, and went on to run 2nd in the Derby. If we're talking about Australian Derby form with New Zealand horses going into that race as the ones that can, even fill the trifecta, well, boy, this form just stands up, does it not, for Desert Lightning coming in to this weekend's Manawatu Classic back to the 2,000 metres. And I think that's a key too, to just bring it back from where the Derby was over the 2,400 metres. There's always these question marks of horses seeing at the 2,400 metres. But we know this horse can perform over 2,100 metres when winning that race there in the Avondale Guineas. So I think he's the right horse. I think he's the one that's deserved of the favourite tag with how he's run this season. There are some interesting horses in this race though, isn't there? And I think this race happens every year because you get the ones that competed in the Derby, you get a couple of runners that competed in the Oaks, and then you get a mixture of horses that are just working their way through. They just didn't quite get to an Oaks or a Derby. That's why I think the Manawatu Classic mixture is always a good one when we get to this race, and I'm looking forward to seeing horses like Cheval d'Or and RB and even Humboldt see how they perform in this race on the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think BP's nailed it here, and one of those horses that has come through a different form line, Steve, is the second favourite in the race, and Cheval d'Or. Very good fourth here in the Sunline Vase, and one of 3 fillies in the race, and she's right in commission, obviously.
Yeah, I love this filly. I hope she gets to Queensland and works back from a Queensland Oaks. Look, the daughter by Manzor, this race shape just didn't suit her. She got back from an okay draw. Second half of the field, you see there, they've run home 35 and change last 600, so it really did favour on-speed runners. Look, the class rating, solid enough, but again, this is group company for 3 old fillies in the Sunline Vase. She's still at Maiden, which is a slight negative. She's yet to just really do the job. Would have they looked for a soft kill and then headed towards a race like this? You've got to trust the stable that she's ready to go, and even though she's still a Maiden, she can beat some of these horses that have had that experience going over the line in that first position. But look, I've got to trust the market, because you look at the Sunline Vase when she finished 4th on that occasion. She opened at double figures in the Sunline Vase. Her SP was $3.60. She closed favourite in front of horses that had performed at group level. I'm trusting the market. I'm trusting the sharp money that was on Cheval d'Or at Te Rapa last start, that she's well above average. I've got her on top. Again, question mark around the rain, but I know we keep repeating ourselves. But look, I just feel that she's a horse on the rise, and at that $5 price. Look, I think $5 is, I don't know if she'll start any shorter. But again, we priced her at double figures and we got cleaned up there, and we're proven wrong in terms of an SP in the Sunline Vase. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this horse progressing, not just out of Saturday, but heading towards hopefully Queensland. With Desert Lightning, just quickly on Desert Lightning, because you look at horses, how have they performed from a Derby, bouncing out of the Derby and into a Classic, and you look at horses in the past, how they've performed, and the Chosen One who's won this race, Charles Road who's also won this race, and Humidor, they've all bounced to the Derby and have won the Manawatu Classic in their next start. So it's no negative horses that have finished midfield in the Derby, haven't quite got the trip, or for whatever reason, drop back to this race and do the job.
Okay, that's interesting in itself.
You mentioned Cheval d'Or, still a maiden, but I think she's had excuses in every single one of those runs where things just haven't quite panned out as they probably would have liked. So certainly.
Look, she's a low percentage player, right? Because she does get back. She has low tactical speed, so she needs the race shape to be suited. It's hard to dissect the map and how hard they'll go here, but if she gets a pinch of luck and they run even tempo mid-race, then she's got a better turn of foot. Well, one of the better turn of foots in the field. Yeah,
okay. Well, another horse I want to have a look at, Paul, is RB, the Weatherly team, going very well. This is a Levin Classic, I believe, and this run had some merit.
Yeah, he got back here, didn't he? And then he just absolutely stormed home, recording the fastest last 400 and 200 metre splits for the Levin Classic. So certainly got the ability to finish things off. He showed a heap of tenacity, 2 starts back when winning over the mile at Counties. Yeah, I've got him in the mix as well. I just love the way he just kept coming and coming and coming here in the Levin Classic. So yeah, RB, fair dinkum chance.
Okay, and the other one, BP, this sends shivers up my spine. Sean Phelan, trainer, Opie Boss and jockey with Humboldt. It was a little bit unlucky last time out at Counties, finishing 4th, as we see Romancing the Moon taking out the Levin Classic. But Humboldt, Opie Boss and Sean Phelan, that's not a combo I want to see too often.
It's a lethal one when it does team up, that's for sure. And then you get those colours as well, and you see names like Heptonstall and Campbell involved, and those shivers, they double. Look, this horse was unlucky into 4th position when Astron just went straight on by and gave them a cold. But Humboldt was unlucky at the same time. Look, I know they really do rate this horse. He's a horse that, you know, was potentially on that Derby path, and there could be a little bit more in store for him later on this season. He might be good enough to maybe earn a trip if he really does perform here. So I think he's a chance amongst many here in this race. If you look through some of the form of these runners, I thought Jafira could be a chance if the track gets really wet. Now, of course, Jafira was a horse 3 starts ago who won on the heavy surface out of Tauranga, and the things didn't quite go its way in the New Zealand Derby. It was a horse who got flushed and had to keep pushing forward. Got a slightly sticky barrier draw for the weekend. And Flamenco. Look, Flamenco's a horse I really did like leading into the New Zealand Oaks. It just got ridden upside down. It was a horse who was far too forward in the race, and they went quick. I mean, boy, they went really fast in that New Zealand Oaks. And she was a horse who was right there, sitting in second position, and actually took over on the point of the bend. So to finish in the 7th position and only beaten 8.5 lengths, and the rest of them were out the back end. It was all about those that had the soft runs that were finishing over the top. She actually ran a great race. Now she's drawn barrier number 2, hope for a soft run, Group 1 Ryan aboard. She's at $9. I think she runs a race tomorrow, Flamenco. And I know that she's bounced out of that New Zealand Oaks effort very strongly too. I'm not going to tip her to win, but I'm certainly going to have something on her in that place market or top 4 market and any sort of power plays. I think she's a decent chance.
Yeah, okay, so who do you have on top, Pops? Desert Lightning?
Yeah, look, at Desert Lightning, I just come back to the obvious form reads around him, and that being out of the Avondale Guineas. But it's a race where, yeah, I look at Humboldt on the each way and Flamenco on the each way too, and yeah, then I just, it all gets a bit messy. So maybe I'll watch track conditions first before I make my ultimate mind up.
Might have to, but it is a great betting race. Paul, final thoughts for you?
Look, Desert Lightning at 250. Look, if it was based purely on form and past performances, I think the 250 there's a wee bit of value there. However, I see enough variables.
You never do that though, do you?
Enough variables in this race. You know, he tends to get back as well. Things might just get a little bit sticky for him.
Yep.
So I've looked elsewhere.
Good.
McGrath. I really loved the run at
as he
Waitaki.
dives for his form.
He was very, very strong through the line in that win at Waitaki. It looked like he had a little extra in the bag, so I think step up to 2,000 metres won't hold any problems whatsoever for the Savabeel gelding.
I like it.
Got a handy draw. I'm just hoping that Warren Kennedy can be a little more closer to the speed, and if so, well, I think we might see McGrath right there in the finish here. So at $18, I don't mind the look of McGrath.
Very good. We've got to push on because we've got about 5 minutes, team, to look at race number 6 on the card. That's the Bramco Granite and Marble Flying Open Handicap 1400. And the order of the day is great betting field, Stephen. We've got another one.
A couple of stablemates here at the top of the box, Seamus and Tavatak. Seamus clearly the best lead I can give out of those two individuals. 350 holds the call, holds 4 times more money than Tavatak at 3.8. Fashion Shoot at $6 in that third line. Maria Farina at $9. Synchronised, well played early stages today on Friday if you're watching the show live, 14 to 11. Pure Encanto, $14. Hold the Press, 21 to 16, drawn barrier 1. So a bit of money there on possibly the mat. Sassy Merlot, $18, and Field of Gold, best of the rest at 21. So, look, overall summary, punter's pretty keen on the Seamus, Opie Boss and Alan Sharrock factor, even though he's got the big weight of 60 kgs.
Speaking of dangerous combinations, BP, look, Seamus just beaten last time in a Lightning and a fraction unlucky, but there's plenty of horses that went around in this Lightning.
Yes, this is a Group 1 combo that doesn't always team up, but boy, when they do, they like to get it right, Bosson and Sharrock. And look, this horse here was just beaten by a horse that just got it bang on, and that being Maria Farina. And Weatherly really did just save it up for that last short, sharp sprint that Maria Farina has got. And we know it's a good one, and was able to just claim a horse who had the 60 kilograms in front. So, and I think you've also got to stand up and listen to what Sam Weatherly has said post-race too, in the belief that, you know, this is a horse that can get to the Group 1 level. She is that capable. Of course, we all know that it can be a sticky watch with her because even in some of those lower graded races. I come back to a race that still burns in my memory, the day that she got beaten over Cup Week Carnival at Riccarton. That was in November, but that's still in my memory bank at the moment with Maria Farina when she got beaten on that occasion. So you know that those sort of days can happen as well with these type of horses. But yeah, she was exceptional there in the Lightning, wasn't she? I like Seamus. I think the track conditions too might help him out if it is going to push into sort of that 8-9 territory. We know he can handle those type of track conditions. Hard to go past him, but I think we can make cases if you want to make cases for a number of other horses to try and beat him.
One of them is obviously the stablemate Paul and Tav Attack there at 3.8. The form's been rock solid, scratched from Tauranga last week, unfortunately, but the last start third in a nice strong open handicap at Te Rapa was good, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and the run before that, the win at where was it, Trentham, was very, very good as well. Here we have Tav Attack, where was it, at Te Rapa, and a lovely run here, and a couple of others in this field just in behind, the likes of Sergio and Germanicus. So, yeah, look, I do like the look of Tav Attack.
Can it beat the stablemate?
I'm waiting for the money to tell me. The money's not telling me anything at the moment.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do like Show. I think Seamus deserves to be on top. Got the 60 kilos again. I don't know why we just don't go again with Maria Farina. I know, is 1 kilo off worse against Seamus than they were in the Lightning. But I just really like that run by Maria Farina in the Lightning, and I think we can continue on the winning ways.
Yeah, no, fair enough too. Steve, Tiako will have two in the race, Fashion Shoot and Synchronise. Look, at this stage, Synchronise taking probably a touch more money, but Fashion Shoot, this win was nice, wasn't it?
It was very good. Look, she's a get-back horse. She drew wide this day, came to the outside and put them away. A really good turn of foot. Look, on her figures, she probably needs to improve 2 lengths, but we're allowing for that weight adjustment because even though she was in lower grade here, she was carrying 58 kilograms. She drops to 53 on Saturday on the minimum, and because of that weight adjustment, she's right in this race on Saturday. She's got a decent draw to play with. Hopefully from that draw, she can sit maybe 2-3 pairs closer, maybe in that neutral position rather than the back third, if she can. She has the turn of foot with 53 only on her back to be more than competitive. I've got her on top.
Okay, it was a good win. The Synchroniser stablemate is taking...
There's soft track conditions as well, form line, so any rain, no knock.
Okay, very good. Synchroniser stablemate is taking money, BP. It's one of those sort of races, though, if you dissect the form and you go through everything and you think, oh, I'm just going to end up backing Seamus because it's too hard.
Yeah. And if you start thinking about throwing in some extra numbers to the quaddie, how many do you want and what does the budget allow? Because... you'll start marking off horse and going, I backed this over the summer and I made some money off this horse and backed that on Boxing Day. So you just find yourself, your pen's running out of ink with the amount of horses you are marking off. But summarise, I'll go with Seamus and making my top pick in the race at around that 350 mark.
Fair enough. Paul, who do you have on top, or a betting perspective, how would you play it?
I probably should have Seamus, but I'm going with Maria Farina again. Yeah, I really, really did like that run in the Lightning at Trentham last time out, and she seems to be in the form of her life.
Yeah, $9 around Maria Farina to knock off Seamus again in the flying marble flying open handicap there, Bramco, Granite and Marble. Okay, we're nearly at the best bet time. BP, I want to talk Warriors for a second with you. Warriors got Cronulla Sharks this week. It was a good win last week at Mount Smart Stadium. I think you might have even been there.
Certainly was. Yes, I was there. Yeah. What a day out. 19,000. Though, of course, they clashed with the Blues, which was playing at the same time, so they didn't get that right. And here are some of the lads. We're able to get downstairs and catch up with some of them. And Braxton was his birthday week, effectively, and we're able to get down into the sheds. And they loved it. We brought a crew of mates. Now, of course, there's Braxton's brother there, Cruz, which is in the green Warriors jersey there. Just a little story around Cruz. He is a Bulldogs fan, a big Bulldogs fan, in fact, and he wore his Bulldogs jersey to the game, of course, and was pumping his chest up. And Addo Carr took off down the left wing, and he's doing the dance in the stands and believing that the Bulldogs are going to win. Of course, they didn't, and then we're able to get down to the Warriors sheds But thankfully, Mum was on the spot. She had the extra jersey in the bag and quickly popped it on before getting into the sheds to see the Warriors, and there he was getting all the signatures on his Warriors jersey.
Oh, very good. They'll never forget that though, Pops, will they? They'll remember that forever, won't they? What a day out.
Absolutely, yeah. Their eyes were wide as saucers, and they just loved it as well. So yeah, and the players were fantastic too. So it was nice to be able to get that insight
Who
straight
enjoyed
after
it
the
the
game.
most, BP? The kids
What's
or
that,
you?
mate?
Who enjoyed it the most, the kids or yourself?
Yeah, come on now.
Big fan.
It was all about the kids. It was all about the kids.
Yeah, right. Go you Warriors.
Could you sign the swimmer's son? What's his name? BP.
Yeah, Brendan, yeah, exactly. Very good. Come on, you Warriors. Right, best bet time, boys. We need to emulate what we did 7 days ago. Let's go for a clean sweep. BP, we'll start with you. Where'd you land?
I'm going to stick with Ascot. It was successful last weekend, but Ascot Park on Sunday. Henry Hubber lines up in race number 4, stays in the same grade as it did last time, same weight. Diego aboard. Let's hope we get a little peach from Diego in race number 4 with Henry Hubber. Wet track should be no concern. That will be on Sunday.
Okay, those markets out tomorrow morning, Stephen, no doubt. Paul, where did you land? Your profits continue to rise. We need another winner, please.
I'm going to Awapuni, race 3, the JPEG Homes Premier over the 1,200 metres. I like the joint favourite at the moment, We Will Rock, trained by Guy Lowry. I just love that fresh up run, and I think we're ready to go again.
Okay, very good. And Steve, round it off for us. Give us the third winner for this weekend.
Yeah, I'll head to the third different track outside Awapuni and Ascot Park. Avondale plays second fiddle on Saturday. Race 5 3-year-old mile. Collateral Damage presented 77 days fresh up when it found itself at Pukekohe over a distance short of its best, 1,200. Then second up, stepped up to the 7 furlongs and put the older horses away at 65 level. I thought the win showed a touch of arrogance from the jock and the horse, considering the official winning margin was just a fraction below half a length. Steps up to the mile. He just needs to replicate those numbers and he should be winning come halfway through the card at Avondale tomorrow.
Okay, you know this is a big weekend for us because people actually be noting these numbers down for once for a Saturday, Paul. So
I'm thinking of regression.
Slight regression.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap the show up for us. We better get out of here. What do we need to know?
We've got our Twitter poll, so go there, vote, leave a comment. You'll go in the draw to win a $100 bonus bet. The four runners that we've got, Desert Lightning and Seamus, both at Awapuni, and then Giga Kick and Sharp and Smart at Randwick. Sharp and Smart, surely. Sharp and Smart gets boosted.
That's getting a boost,
that's and no knock on the other Kiwis in the Derby, but boy, oh boy, I love Sharp and Smart.
Yeah, DIY power plays, I think we've got those as well, haven't we?
We sure do. In fact, I think I mentioned them during the show. You can put a few of the horses together in the Manawatu Sires produce in a top 5 or a top 8, come out with a few odds and have a nice little day. So yeah, the boys are really pushing the boat out with these do-it-yourself power plays.
Yeah, they're a bit of fun, aren't they, to be fair? Oh no.
Yeah, bonus back blitz as well, of course, this Saturday, the first 4 races at Awapuni, Avondale, Randwick and Bendigo. You know the deal there by now, surely. If not, head to the TAB website, check out all the T's and C's in the Punters Lounge.
Okay, get into that Twitter poll, chance to win a $100 bonus bet. We're out of time.
No deductions.
Oh yeah,
no surprises.
Yeah, and a bit of rain
was supposed to end today.
Yeah.
We've pushed it out.
No.
July 31st. No deductions, no surprises.
I'll be music to someone's ears in
Bet with
Hamilton.
confidence, BP.
Through the winter, wet tracks, what are you doing?
Thanks, Pops. Thanks for your efforts. You'll be pleased to hear that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, music to my ears. Thanks, team.
Have a good weekend, BP. Thanks for your efforts. Thank you, boys. Enjoy yourselves.
Will do.
Oh, you're going up both on
You'll be
course
on
tomorrow.
track, something different. Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Should be a great day at Awapuni. And hopefully it's a great day across the Tasman for our Kiwi Raiders. Good luck. Back a winner. We'll see you in 7 days' time on the Leg Up.